Narcissists and love deprivation. Welcome to today's topic, ladies and gentlemen. I am Coach Tobias Forst, founder of Achilles Life Coaching, decade-long recipient of narcissistic abuse, and I've saved myself from it. And I accompany you on your journey to your personal freedom. Love deprivation is used by narcissists as a weapon levied against you. You will be made responsible, according to the narcissist, for the feelings of themselves or of other people. If you, ladies and gentlemen, behave like A, this might lead or will lead to negative emotions for these particular people. And if you behave like B, everything's fine. But as you can see right now in the way I phrased it, the parameters are supposedly set by the narcissist and you should obey them, if you ask the narcissist. But we are not here to obey, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to liberate ourselves and lend helping hands and the sight, the vision to spot toxic behavior and rid ourselves from it. It is an attempt to exert control over you. Because if you don't behave in the supposedly prescripted way, there is the sword of Damocles over your head that reads love deprivation, social isolation, shaming, guilt trips. And at the end of it all, if you don't play ball, ladies and gentlemen, what is at stake is nothing less than the relationship of whichever kind that you have with the narcissist. And it is all because of you, of course. So let's take this through the meat grinder in an example. You will play a role in this, ladies and gentlemen. There are two other actors in this, two other agents in this example. There is your sister and your sister's boyfriend. Your boyfriend, whether you are lady or gentleman, you hold sort of a brotherly or sisterly love to them. He's part of the family by now. Your sister is predisposed to emotional chaos, emotional outbursts, and there is such an occasion, such a situation right now, you catch my drift, wherein she is sort of worried about you, mad at you in a way, without you knowing the concrete details, but it has again to do with the fact that you made up your own mind about certain decisions that you took, certain actions that you took, without objectively in any way impeding or harming either your sister or her boyfriend. That said, there comes the day where you receive a message from the boyfriend of your sister. And the message goes more or less like this. He's very uneasy with having to write those next lines to you. But he just, despite all the negative feeling that comes up in him right now, he feels obliged to let you know. Because it is supposedly your responsibility, again, that your sister feels such a high degree of emotional chaos at this point in time. And for that reason, because you acted in a certain way by living an independent life of them, making up your own, creating your own path, he feels forced to distance himself from you. And he asks you to please understand that you should not contact him again. And but he doesn't want to sever connections altogether to you, because in case of an emergency on your part, of course, there should still be the possibility that you could call him up so he can lend you, in a Solomonic way, lend his hand as the brave knight that he is, interested in your well-being. But please don't contact him unless it is an emergency. So with that message that literally comes out of the blue to you, you read this and you're like, what the F? There are some key points of information therein. It starts with this message being only about him. His negative emotions, the queasy feeling, the impression that he's just obliged to contact you, to let you know, making a unilateral decision against you. Then second, there is your supposed responsibility for the emotional state of two other people. As if your sister's emotional chaos has anything to do with you, or his state of mind and heart has anything to do with you. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, discussing this particular information divulged in that message to you, you are not responsible for how other people feel. Imagine if I felt good if you acted like A, and if I felt bad if you acted like B. This is a complete relinquishing of personal agency and power. Because apparently you have in your hands how I feel. This is the coward's way out. Don't get baited by someone who tries to put the blame on you, how themselves or other people, your sister in this example, feel about themselves. Then there is the threat of love deprivation. Because you're not playing ball, ladies and gentlemen. There is the threat of social isolation, because you, not playing ball, must be excluded from the supposed family unit. And last but not least, there's shaming and a guilt trip that's being put on you. Sign language, coined by Kevin Samuels: shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. But the kicker, ladies and gentlemen, the two kickers are 2 points of information in this message that the narcissist, the boyfriend of your sister, brings to light without intention of doing so. So number one, the boyfriend shows you exactly how you can hurt him, how you can trigger him. With shaming and a guilt trip, that in a reactive way, after you've been shamed and guilted, that will work against him. Although I do recommend more, as a much more effective tool, that you employ the strategy of not going deep, coined by Dr. Ramani Durvasula. Don't defend, don't engage, don't explain, the other way around, and don't personalize. Then there is the most vital part of information that he displays, that he shows about how he and who he is in life. Because he takes the emotional chaos of his girlfriend, your sister, and tries to deflect responsibility entirely onto you. To have a better understanding of where I want to go with this, what information involuntarily is divulged by him to you, let's go through a quick analysis of how men and women, due to biological differences, solve problems. When a man has a problem or an emotional issue, he tends to seek out advice, find a solution, is open for hearing suggested solution paths. For women it is different. For you ladies out there, you manage to dissolve emotional problems, emotional chaos, by communicating about it. Communication. But that communication has certain chain links that need to happen in sequence before your communication about it is possible. What are those chain links? A woman needs to be emotionally open. If she's within a state of emotional chaos, she's emotionally closed down, which will dramatically slow her process to open up, to enable her to communicate about whatever's going on, in order, due to the communication, to dissolve the problems. Now, what is a man's role, or the role of the masculine part in a homosexual relationship? The task is, and that is part of the package deal, like it or not, to help the feminine part in the relationship, or the woman part in the relationship, to emotionally open up, to enable her, as the next chain link, to communicate about whatever is ailing her, and by doing so, dissolving independently of her own accord the problems she might perceive and solve them on her own. Now in comes the boyfriend of your sister, and he makes it even worse for your sister because he stirs the embers of her current emotional chaos. He makes it worse and takes all of that and puts the blame on you. And by doing so, he shows 4 very interesting aspects, very interesting facts. The first one is that he, in a grandiose way, fails as a man in the relationship with your sister. The second is he displays that he is just a mere coward because he is putting all the blame and all the responsibility for her state onto you. Third, he clearly displays that he is nothing more than impotent in helping his girlfriend. Your sister is not your girlfriend, she's his girlfriend. His impotence about helping her to emotionally open up so she can feel safe enough to communicate about it, and by doing so dissolving of her own accord the problems she just had and now manages to communicate away. And number 4, he displays that in the relationship with your sister, he is an unman. And the term unman for the narcissists out there is not even coined by me. You gotta take it up with Professor Sam Vaknin. So, as a brief interlude before we come to the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, you, ladies and gents, can lean back because I have a message to the narcissists who are watching this video at some point. And the message is by none other than life coach Grima Wormtongue from the movie Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Oh, but you are alone. Who knows what you have spoken to the darkness, alone in the bitter watches of the night, when all your life seems to shrink and the walls of your bower closing in about you, a hutch to trammel some wild thing. Applause to your impotence, your lack of responsibility, your ineptitude to conceive authentic interest in helping the partner, in that case the sister, to solve a problem. Congratulations on the lack of empathy. That said, now back to you, ladies and gentlemen, and the conclusion. Whoever in your lives threatens you with love deprivation and social isolation, these people can take that and put it where the sun doesn't shine. Because someone who really loves, be that in an intimate relationship a family or friend or brotherly, sisterly relationship, whichever kind, does not threaten with depriving you of that love and does not threaten you with social isolation. So I recommend to you, ladies and gentlemen, that you take your distance from these people. And for those of you who cannot, for whichever reasons, leave that relationship at this point in time, fair enough, still I can and will congratulate you. Because they, like the man in the example, the boyfriend, has just gifted you with a few days of pause and reprieve, maybe, if you're lucky, even a few weeks. Be your own hero and be your own heroine. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.